Crystal Palace against Liverpool wasn't big enough of a treat for you, guess who we got for you? Craig Burley himself, outside of studio.
The Mayor of London is here.
Craig, I have heard that you have been kissing babies, you have been shaking hands, you have been hugging. I mean, it's a Craig Burley that we don't know. I don't think I've ever gotten a hug from you, Craig.
Have I got a twin?
No, you've been very social today. I saw you being very social.
Frank told me off at the start of the day. I was talking to a floor manager, Chuck Taylor, who is a friend of mine. We used to work with him, and I haven't seen him for years. And Frank sent me a text, said, "Shut up and get back out here and talk to me. I need somebody to talk to." So I was bumping into some old people. But I tell you what, I missed some of what you guys were saying during the game because we had some sound issues. It was a pretty good game today, was it not?
It was.
For a Community Shield. And, you know, I know you're probably talking about Liverpool a lot, but kudos to Crystal Palace. What a good, solid side.
Yeah. We said that already.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm just repeating. I think if there's not more evidence that you have to back your manager, if Eze goes, if Wharton goes, if Mark Gay goes, what's that saying to Oliver Glasner? Because what he's done in his period here on a wafer-thin budget is quite incredible. I mean, that front three, if you've got some solidity behind you and a good back three, good wing-backs, what Sarr and Eze and Mateta can bring is, and I said in the commentary, if they don't sell those players, they're going to be a threat. They're not going to win the league, don't get me wrong, but they're going to be a threat to every team in the Premier League, home and away.
Of course, on top of it, they will have the confidence for that. And they know, now they know that they can beat Manchester City or draw against Manchester City, or beat Manchester City, or draw against Liverpool and beat on penalties. It's going to bring a lot of confidence. It's going to be very hard to play Crystal Palace this season.
But what did you think, and I was saying that again, what did you think, one of the things during the game for me, the small things, was where Liverpool are going to have to really work on with the new players. You guys have talked about it. Stevie, defender, Nedum defender, Frank defender. What about this sort of partnership today?
I think it's tough to read today in some ways because when the season starts, we'll probably see Gravenberch in there. We'll probably see McAllister be there in the midfield. And all of a sudden, you see more familiar faces who did them so well last season. Because I think the talk about how Frimpong's going to fit in, Kirkes and so on, that type of stuff might take time in terms of the attack. But Liverpool being solid through the middle is going to be a big deal. Because as we saw with that second goal today, all of a sudden, why are Liverpool giving up so many big chances, especially in transition? Well, maybe it's because it's not the personnel that he wants to pick for the majority of the games that they'll play this season. So it's tough because I don't want to overreact to it.
Look, in the middle of the park, you have Szoboszlai and George today. It will be likely McAllister and Gravenberch. Yeah. So it's going to be already different.
I was more. Oh yeah, the midfield's going to change. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And Szoboszlai wasn't great today. He scored a great penalty. Yeah. He wasn't great. No. He could be the guy to miss out. I mean, he's the captain of Hungary.
Yes.
He was a big sign. He could be the guy, and probably is going to be the guy to miss out. Gravenberch, McAllister, Wirtz. What was interesting to me, and it's a big step up for Bournemouth, and he's a very good player, Kirkes, and I know Stevie really likes him, was in the first half there was 2 or 3 easy long diagonals that they got out to Munoz, and he, to my memory, he tucked so far in that it was such an easy ball to play. And then you take the second, the equaliser, he was the opposite. And I know it wasn't really his fault because the ball got won back and it wasn't a foul. But he was away out on the left and then Van Dijk steps up. So it was kind of, for Arne Slot, it was kind of some bad decisions today. Go home, watch the video, go right. That's what we need to work on if we're going to be better. Steve
was mentioning the fact that when you are physically not at 100%, you maybe turned up like, I don't know, 1/10 of a second too late. It's what happened on Van Dijk. It can happen on Kirkes. I think those players are not ready physically, and it's why maybe they were sometimes short in action.
Yeah, but what I didn't get with Van Dijk, and you see it, and Stevie, I heard Stevie say, look, you're not going to see this too often from Van Dijk.
Yes.
But it was interesting how when that ball broke, his first thought, I think, was to go to Mateta. And, as a defender, you'd be looking at him to your side going, right, where's the danger? It's not really. And once he stepped out there was a huge space, which Palace took brilliantly. I mean, kudos to them. But I think for Liverpool, obviously they're favourites for this season. And I'm not reading it just in today.
Are you sure?
Maybe it's not going to be quite as simplistic
Yeah.
as we
no,
thought.
of course not.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And I think that's the thing. When the signings were coming in and also this sort of like Isaac cloud as well,
Yeah.
you can see how on paper they're going to have a really good-looking team. Because we're looking at, say, how Kerkez was for Bournemouth, looking at how Frimpong was for Leverkusen. But now, as you've said, you're going to put that into this Liverpool side. And Van Dijk, for the last 5 years or so, has had Robertson or Tsimikas to the side of him.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what they're going to do. On the other side, you know, whether it's Conor Bradley for the last 2 years or Alexander-Arnold, you know exactly what it's going to be like. And I think the test today was coming against the Palace side. You know exactly what everyone's going to do because it's the same team that played the majority of last season.
Yeah.
And those relationships, as you've mentioned, that's what's going to define it,
What did you
isn't
think
it?
of Ekitike? I know he had his struggles in France. He's a young player, struggled in France. He really gained his confidence when he went to Eintracht Frankfurt, didn't he? And we saw glimpses of that today. It wasn't just his goal, but I
The
was
link-up
really,
play.
Huh?
The link-up play was all right, wasn't it?
When the ball was coming up and you got a big centre-half behind you and he's flicking it around the corner. He did that 3 or 4 times. I was like, wow, I didn't think you had that in your game, you know?
No, I was very impressed,
Yeah.
especially the first half. And when, in fact, we were saying that when he left, when he was substituted, Nedum was mentioning to me that the game was different for Liverpool.
Yeah.
So maybe there is a reason why. Yeah, I got the shirt. Yeah, I know. So I have to say good things. No, but it's true that he had a very good first game. And oh my God.
Hold on. Have you been kissing backside when I've not been here?
Oh, I didn't
he
need to.
has.
What's going on?
I don't need to.
He
Or did he
has.
run over and go, Alexis, did he run over and go, Frank Leboeuf, World Cup winner, have my shirt?
Absolutely
Please
did.
have my shirt.
He absolutely did, and he got a shirtless hug from Ekitike. Look at the video here, of course. Oh, and a nice little face
Look at
touch.
that.
Oh my days, that is almost. I'm not sure which one was more loving, that or Nedum's 15-minute embrace with Eberechi Eze back in May. But
They're all gone soft.
it's all gone soft.
All gone soft.
Do you know what's? Do you know what's happened here? Do you know what's happened here? He's come over and he's given Frank a hug, and then he's walked off and he's gone, who's that guy?
You got me off, right?
You
Craig,
know,
did nobody give you a shirt?
Him.
no,
Oh, you may have noticed I was doing the
nobody wants to
commentary.
give
I
a
can't be in
shirt
too
to Craig Burley. The guy is not happy about everything. So, but don't worry. I feel people being envious around me right now. So I'm okay. I'll go a step forward, and I forget about that.
Sure,
I don't
sure.
care.
Frank,
You know
sure.
what
gonna
was
ignore you.
interesting, though?
Stevie,
Go ahead, Craig.
sorry, there's a little bit of a delay here, so sorry for butting in. Stevie, what about what we've been talking about? I know I heard you talking a little bit about the back four, and it is a work in progress when you sign new players. But Kerkez's positioning today, I mean, obviously there's a much different scenario playing for Liverpool week in, week out, playing alongside the Van Dijks and the Kanates than there is playing at Bournemouth. So he's going to have to figure that out very quickly, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's got to figure out what Liverpool are comfortable with, what Bournemouth were comfortable with him doing positionally. He could have been told at Bournemouth, I don't care, you stay out wide. The other defenders will sort that out because when we get it, I want you going forward. That's a different scenario probably at Liverpool. And I think part of the problem today was that because Van Dijk's struggling a little, then he's putting more time into what he's doing as opposed to what he probably should be doing more of early doors, is getting Kerkez in either tighter or wider, depending on the situation. And so if there's no communication between Kerkez and Van Dijk, then it's really tough to blame Kerkez because he's not used to being in a certain place with that back four. So again, to me, a lot of it is down to Van Dijk. And I spoke about the second goal, Craig, when you're playing the way he was playing, you don't see things clearly. And when you don't see things clearly, it then makes it hard to help somebody else as well at the same time. So I think a lot of this was to do with Van Dijk's own personal game today. And it's going to take time for Kerkez to figure out how wide or how tight he should be. And the only way to do that is either games or on the training field.
Well, one thing that I definitely want to go
I have
back
a question.
to.
Sorry. Oh, sorry, Alexi. I just wanted to make sure, because we didn't hear the name of the player that Stevie was mentioning just right now.
Don't go back there.
Don't go back there. Kerkez.
That's what I said, wasn't it?
Is what you said, Steve? Oh, okay. No, so it's Kerkez. Just
Well,
because
don't-
he was teasing you. He was teasing you. He don't want to say it, but he was teasing. So what did he say, Caricus?
Do you know what's interesting, though? Ever since Craig came into the shot, Nedum and Frank have moved further and further away, close to each other. There's almost like there was, at one point, there was like a gulf between them. Guys, Craig doesn't bite that much.
I think Frank's looking for another hug. I think he's looking for a hug from Nedum, really.
Do you have a shirt?
I think he's
No,
looking
keep
for
it
a hug
on.
from Nedum.
Keep that shirt on. Don't take it off.
Okay. No,
I don't know.
no.
But
Later.
Funny enough, Nedum, I wanted to come to you on something because it was a conversation we were having about Eberechi Eze that Stevie was talking about, and just feeling like how he would be probably, with his skill and his talent and what he can do, maybe better suited in a team that's going forward a lot more than Crystal Palace are doing now. And we know that he has been linked with other teams such as Arsenal. Is that somewhere you'd like to see your boy go? Do you think that should happen?
Should is maybe not the right word, but I think it's definitely something that he's capable of doing and thriving.
Oh, no doubt.
You know what I mean? Like, you can see, I think sometimes you see some players play at a lower level but show you things that show they can be at a higher one. And I think one thing for sure is the fact that he's very coachable, but he has a very unique eye in terms of how he plays the game. His skill set as well makes him feel really unique, because as you look around the league, for all the quality that's there, how many players can you name that play like him? And the answer is not many, if any at all. So add that to a team like an Arsenal, you know, potentially like a progressive Spurs or so on. You've got a player who's already an England international who can be a game changer in certain moments at that level. Yes, of course, he can be somebody that's going to be competing for titles on a year in, year out basis. So I've got no issues whatsoever. And I think, if anything, one thing to keep an eye on is the fact that he's not the youngest player in the world here. And some of these opportunities that come, at some point, if you don't take one, will it come back again? And I know Palace would love to keep him. He's been the star for the last few years. But I would also like to see him playing, say, for example, in the Champions League instead of this flip of a coin. Is it Europa League? Is it Conference League, for example? The situation that Palace find themselves in at this moment in time.
Right, well, before anyone else chimes in, I've just been told that Frank Leboeuf has a first-class seat on a train that he needs to catch, so he actually can't hang out with us anymore. Come on, Frank.
Oh.
A day rate means a day.
Hold on.
Alexi, you're not there anymore. What's the point to stay here? You know,
Oh,
you left
I
us for
love
Stevie, so I just have to go back to France. That's it.
I might try that trick. Oh, I've got a train. Yeah, half a go. It's half a job. Well, I tell you what, when you send your invoice in, make sure you send it in for 75% of the show. Not 100. I've never heard that one before. Live TV.
I'm only paid for 50% of the show.
You know we're doing a game at Wembley. You know when the game finishes, you book the train accordingly.
Yeah, but the thing is, if I stay longer, I will have to stay one night, and ESPN will have to pay for that hotel. So it's why.
The thought of seeing you in London again tonight, now you can go.
Okay, you see now?
We'll let you go, Frank. Thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure.
No, wait.
Thank you.
When the producer came on, and by the way, the producer's blown my ears out. Well, when he came on and he said, we've got to go back to Alexis, I thought we got some big interview. I thought, oh my God, we've got Virgil van Dijk, or we've got an interview. Not Frank's train.
I have to go, shut up.
Alas. Alas.
He's been so
do the
social
do
today.
the two kiss. I love Overseas Craig. Overseas Craig is amazing.
No.
No,
I know.
he doesn't feel good right now.
Hold on. What, American Craig's not amazing?
American Craig is lovely on certain days, but Overseas Craig is just... Frank has to go, so we're going to let Frank go. Frank, you could go. You could put the mic down.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, Frank.
Go on,
Thank
Frank,
you.
sod off.
Stevie,
Go.
Stevie, what did you make of what
Sod
Nedum
off.
had to say about Eberechi Eze?
Yeah, I think, listen, as great as he's been for Palace, and obviously Palace, particularly Craig talking about Oliver Glasner, you know, keeping players and bringing more in. When you have the talent that Eze's got, the older you get, the quicker it disappears. And he's no spring chicken, let's be honest. And so for me, right now is the time for him to go and join a big club, a big team that is going to be challenging for the biggest prizes, because that's how good he can be. And right now, unfortunately, I think the talent he has is getting a little wasted at Crystal Palace.
Oh, well, we might want to remind everybody that ESPN FC is presented by Xfinity. The Wi-Fi is booming. And despite what Stevie just said, we can have a look at Crystal Palace, who are the Community Shield winners in their first ever appearance. It's the first time winner of the Community Shield since Aston Villa back in 1981, and only the second club outside of the Premier League Big Six to win the Community Shield in the last 29 years, and the first since Leicester City back in 2021. Well, here is US Men's National Team player Chris Richards.
Chris, massive congratulations. Obviously, another really special Wembley day for you and for your fans. How do you sum it all up?
Yeah, it was a tough day, but it was really good of the team to come back from from being down twice, and even though it's preseason per se, it was always good to come out here and get a win and win another trophy.
And your manager said in the build-up to this game that you guys were the underdogs, but that you never feel like there's any team that can get the better of you. You feel like you can always beat anyone, no matter who you're facing. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like there's a real sense within this group that they can go on and do special things?
Definitely, I think especially on the tail end of last year, we had a lot of big performances, and I feel like if we're on our game, I think it'll be really tough for any team in the world to play against us. So I think we showed it today. I think we showed it in the FA Cup final, but regardless, I think we want to bring the same mentality into the season this year.
Yeah, and one big thing this summer is you've managed to keep a lot of the squad together. How important has that been, keeping the same group around the place and being able to build on what you did last season?
No, it's amazing. Like you said, we had a great end of the season last year, and being able to build on that going into this season, also adding a few new faces, but guys who are fully bought in. I think it was a credit to the management here. But again, it's always good to kind of keep the same squad, the same faces. Everybody knows each other, so it's just a big family.
Yeah, and for yourself personally, obviously a big year, World Cup year coming up as well. So how do you feel in yourself? Do you feel like you're ready and in prime condition to go again this season?
Yeah, and I think I need a little bit more fitness. Still need some more legs, but I'm really excited for this World Cup coming up. Hopefully I can keep playing well, and like I said, keep getting fit every day, and hopefully by summertime next year I'll be ready to go.
And just finally, obviously a special day, the second special day in a matter of months. Do these occasions really make you hungry for more days like this, and to make sure Crystal Palace this becomes a regular thing now going forward?
Definitely. I think last year we kind of set the baseline for what's to come, and we want to be playing at Wembley every year. We want to be playing in finals every year. So I think last year was just still the first taste of it, and hopefully we can kind of set that standard for Palace for the years to come and continue to win more trophies.
All right, guys. Well, I hear that Craig is going to take Nedum out on a night out in London town, something I was not able to do in my 6 years in London before moving back here. So final thoughts on
Alexis.
the game, Craig.
Well, final thoughts, what goes through your head sometimes, I'm not quite sure. Taking Nedum out in London, I mean, come on, look at us, we're too old for all that.
100%.
Super impressed by Palace, but as Stevie, I think, mentioned earlier, they're not a work in progress. They're about hanging on to the best players, and you can see they all know each other's games. So for them, it's quite simple. It's hanging on to their key stars. There's a big doubt whether that's going to happen. I think for Liverpool, I think things will be fine. But if I was Arsenal watching today's game, I'd be relatively comfortable that our recruitment's been good. If we're thinking Arsenal are the main challengers, and maybe City and maybe Chelsea, that changing the old guard, the Alexander-Arnold and the Robertson, I couldn't even remember my fellow countryman's name there, Andy Robertson, it's sort of changing the old guard sometimes can be a little more difficult than you think. So we're just watching Arne Slot. He's about 15 yards from us getting interviewed. So it's going to be a little bit of thinking for him about where he goes, how he integrates these new players, and how he gets this defensive unit to be good enough to be Premier League champions again. And I think after today, there are one or two questions.
For sure, yeah. And the 15 yards, I'd probably say it's 10. Liverpool, best club in the world, best team, best manager, everything. There's nothing wrong at all. Just in case, no, I'm joking. I think in regards to the way that this game went today, I think you saw two sides to this coin, because you saw a Palace side who haven't had a ton of new signings.
Yep.
Obviously, Sosa came on, tried to make a difference and so on. But you knew how they were going to play, because we've seen it so many times before. Whereas for Liverpool, the eyes were on those new faces. It was on a Kirkes, it was on a Frimpong, it was on a Wirtz, it was on an Ekitike. And you're wondering, how are they going to integrate? So I think for Palace, as Chris Richards was saying, that they've set the baseline for themselves for last year. What they believe in is they can be in more finals, they can be competitive, and we know they'll be in Europe. Obviously, we don't know which side of that competition draw they'll be in. But for Liverpool, they have the quality. But now it's going to be down to the coach to be able to mesh it all together. Because as Craig said, change is here, change is coming. But can they maintain their success whilst going through all these processes?
Stevie, final thoughts on the game?
as always, the game's not played on paper. It's played on the grass. And we can think what we all like to think is going to happen, and we can see all the positives. But when the whistle goes and the game starts, you find out exactly where you are. And today is going to be, in the long run, good for Liverpool and Arne Slot, because they found out exactly where they are today. They found out how far they are away from being the finished article, because what they were playing against is the finished article. So in some ways it's good. In other ways they'll be going home, particularly Slot, thinking, what's the most important thing I need to work on? Because there's quite a few things that they need to work on. But in some ways, again, it's a kick up the backside. And as I said, the most important thing is you have to do it on the field. On paper and in your head, it's a different ball game.